Have you ever wondered how the world might end? It's a universal question, isn't it? A query that has weaved its way through the fabric of human consciousness, spanning across centuries and civilizations. It has been the muse of poets, the riddle of philosophers, and the worry of the common man. The end of the world, the apocalypse, the final curtain call. There are countless theories on this grand finale, each as fascinating and terrifying as the next. They range from scientific predictions of natural disasters to prophecies foretold in ancient texts. Today, however, we will be focusing on a particular collection of stories, theories, and predictions that have been around for millennia. Yes, we are talking about the end times as described in one of the most influential books in human history, the Bible. From fiery infernos to cataclysmic floods, the Bible paints a multitude of apocalyptic scenarios. So buckle up as we delve into the apocalyptic scenarios according to the Bible. First off, we encounter the four horsemen of the apocalypse. These are the harbingers of the end times as described in the book of Revelation, each one riding a horse of a different color, each color symbolizing a different catastrophe. The rider of the white horse, clad in a robe as bright as the sun, is said to represent conquest. Unlike the traditional depiction of conquerors, this rider doesn't bring victory through brute force. Instead, he is armed with a bow, suggesting that he conquers through diplomacy and deceit, rather than through open warfare. This horseman is often interpreted as the Antichrist, who according to prophecy, will rise to power through peaceful means, only to bring about destruction. Next comes the red horse, its rider wielding a great sword. This horseman represents war. The color red symbolizes the bloodshed and violence that follows in the wake of conflict, turning brother against brother, nation against nation. The presence of the great sword signifies the immense power and widespread devastation that war brings. The third horseman rides a black horse and holds a pair of scales in his hand. This horseman symbolizes famine. The scales represent the scarcity of food and the desperate measures people will have to take to survive. The black horse is a stark reminder of the dire consequences of war and conquest, which often lead to widespread hunger and deprivation. Finally, there's the rider of the pale horse. This horseman is death, the inevitable end that awaits us all. Pale is the color of the dead and dying, a chilling symbol of the mortality that we often choose to ignore. This horseman is said to bring with him Hades, the realm of the dead, signifying not just physical death, but spiritual death as well. These four riders usher in the beginning of the end, but that's just the start. Each horseman is a stark reminder of the calamities that can befall humanity, calamities that, according to the book of Revelation, will signal the beginning of the end of the world. Following the arrival of the four horsemen comes the Great Tribulation. A period of profound suffering and distress, the Great Tribulation is known to be one of the most tumultuous times in the narrative of the world's end as prophesied in the Bible. Picture this. The world is plunged into a period of immense suffering, a time of profound pain and distress that eclipses any hardship humanity has ever experienced. This is not a metaphorical or symbolic tribulation. It's a time of literal, tangible suffering that will shake the very core of human existence. The Great Tribulation is characterized by natural disasters on an unprecedented scale. We're talking about earthquakes that could split continents, floods that could submerge entire nations, fires that could incinerate forests in a blink, and storms that could wipe out cities in an instant. These are not the usual disasters we're used to. These are catastrophes of biblical proportions happening one after the other, wreaking havoc and leaving destruction in their wake. But the Great Tribulation isn't just about natural disasters. It's also a time of intense persecution of believers. People who hold steadfast in their faith, who choose to stay true to their beliefs, will face relentless persecution. They will be hunted, ostracized, and subjected to unimaginable torment. Yet, in this time of great despair, their faith becomes their beacon, their light amidst the engulfing darkness. The Great Tribulation is a time of chaos and destruction, yes, but it's also a time of refining and purification. It's a crucible that tests the metal of humanity, a fire that purifies the gold of faith. It's a time when the true essence of humanity is revealed, when the strength and resilience of the human spirit are put to the ultimate test. The Great Tribulation, as terrifying as it may sound, is not the end. Rather, it's the prelude to the final act. It's the storm before the calm, the darkness before the dawn. It's the stage that sets the scene for the grand finale, the ultimate showdown between good and evil. The Great Tribulation sets the stage for the final act of the world's end. Finally, the world meets its end with the final judgment. This is the moment where the totality of humanity, both the living and the dead, stand before the divine court. It's a grand spectacle of accountability, a reckoning of deeds that will determine the eternal fate of every soul. The final judgment, as narrated in the Bible, is not so much about vengeance as it is about justice. It is the moment where the scales are balanced, where every action is weighed, every word is accounted for, and every thought is laid bare. It is the ultimate revelation of truth, where secrets are unveiled and masks are removed. Imagine the courtroom of the divine, where the judge is omniscient, the evidence is irrefutable, and the verdict is indisputable. Every individual is judged not by their outward appearance, their wealth, or their status, but by their deeds, their choices, and the condition of their heart. In this final act, there are only two outcomes. For those who have lived righteously, who have demonstrated love, compassion, and humility, the reward is eternal life. It's not about a life of luxury or endless pleasure, but a life of peace, joy, and fulfillment, free from pain, sorrow, or fear. This is the promise of heaven, a place of perfect harmony, where every tear is wiped away and every heart finds rest. On the other hand, those who have lived wickedly, who have chosen selfishness, cruelty, and deceit, face eternal punishment. This is not about perpetual torture or relentless pain, but about separation from goodness, love, and light. It is the ultimate consequence of choosing darkness over light, hate over love, and evil over good. This is the reality of hell, a place of isolation and despair, where regret is constant and peace is absent. And thus, according to the Bible, the world as we know it ceases to exist. The final judgment marks the end of the world and the beginning of eternity. It is the ultimate climax of the human story, where every decision matters, every action counts, and every soul finds its eternal destination. So, there you have it, the biblical blueprint of the apocalypse. We've journeyed through the ominous prophecy of the four horsemen, symbolic figures who usher in a series of catastrophic events. We've seen the Great Tribulation, a time of unparalleled suffering and calamity, and we've witnessed the final judgment, the ultimate reckoning where all souls are held to account. These apocalyptic scenarios, as dire as they appear, are not merely tales of doom and gloom. They serve as potent reminders of morality and justice. They underscore the enduring belief in the triumph of good over evil, even in the darkest of times. They are, in essence, allegories of humanity's enduring struggle between virtue and vice, light and darkness, hope and despair. Whether you take these prophecies literally or symbolically, one thing is certain: the end of the world is a compelling topic that continues to captivate the human imagination.